Okay, so in the last video, I did an awful lot of stuff really quickly. Some of the things we did is we created a list of numbers using the series widget. I used cross-reference to do some crazy data matching stuff with that series to create grids of points and things like that. Anyway, I went kind of fast, and so I wanted to make sure and maybe back up just a little bit and go over this a little more thoroughly with you. Make sure that make sure that's understood. So one of the interesting things is that about grasshoppers. Like let's say I need to make a line, right? I need a start point and end point to make a line. If I start to plug in lists of start points and lists of end points, then I start to make multiple lines all at once. And so that's what I mean. A sort of list of objects is more than one, right? A lot of what we do when you look at the sort of the computational design side of things under the hood, a lot of the things we do is dealing with just numbers. And so actually creating just an ordered set of numbers in a pattern is actually a pretty useful thing to do, and you'll find yourself doing it quite a bit. So I'm going to go to the Sets tab, and I'm going to go over series, okay, and then we'll also look at range, and maybe we can even generate a random set of numbers. But each of these are just different ways to generate a list of numbers in some sort of ordered fashion, okay. So I'll do series first. I'll click this, put the widget in, okay. Remember, series creates a list of numbers, right? And its ingredients are, first of all, it wants the first number to use in the list of numbers it generates, okay? And by default, it's set to 0. Okay? The step size for each excessive number. So what to add to each number in order to create the next number in the series. And then finally, how many times to perform that operation? How many values? How long of a list of numbers do we want? Okay. So what I'm going to do is just briefly show you what happens when we change any of those input parameters, right? So right now, this list, no surprise, it starts at 0. It steps by 1 10 times, right? So it starts at 0 and then step, and generates a series of 10 numbers, right? And since it starts at 0, that 10 ends at 9. Okay. If I add a number slider, and I'll convert this to integers, and I'll change the max to something larger. Okay, and so if we simply change the starting number, right, the list acts, predictably, right? So in this case, instead of starting at 0, we told the series widget to start the list of numbers at 1. And so now it starts 1, 2, 3, and goes all the way to 10, right? And of course, I think that seems fairly predictable. You can see the results over here, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We start at 6. Then we get a list of 10 digits starting at 6, stepping by 1 each time. Okay. Let's disconnect that and start back at 0 again. In this case, I'm changing the step size, right? So it starts at 0, and the step size is at 0, so it's going to be zeros all the way down. If we step by 1 each time, then we get the set of integers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 9. If we step by 2, then we get 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. 3, well, we start count by 3, 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, etc. Okay, so I think you probably understand how that works now. And then, of course, just simply the number of numbers to generate, right? So 0 numbers, there's nothing coming out of this series widget. And in fact, this turns orange, letting us know that nothing was actually being computed. 1 number. 2 numbers, 3 numbers, 4 numbers, 5 numbers, all the way up to 10, or however many we need. So that's how the series widget works. The next one we'll do range.